Arrow in the Song by Wadsworth Longfellow. I shot an arrow into the air. It fell to earth. I knew not where. For who has sight? I breathed a song into the air. It fell to earth. I knew not where. For who has sight so keen and strong that it can follow the flight of song? Long, long afterward, in an oak, I found the arrow still unbroke, and the song, from beginning to end, I found again, in the heart of a friend. So, in the poem The Arrow in the Song by Wadsworth Longfellow, essentially, the main lesson that you learn that he's trying to convey is we can never predict the power of our action. The word said, the deed done, disappear into the past and the years long gone, but we can never really understand the true gravitude of their impact. A friend explodes with rage over an imagined slight. A stranger thanks us for a favor we'd forgotten. There's little things that we've forgotten about, but never truly left. In this poem, Longfellow compares two forms of action, represented by the arrow and the song. The speaker shoots an arrow into the air and it falls to earth out of sight. So essentially, what? It's gone? But no, it's not gone, because long afterward, he finds the arrow, and its impact is still gone on. Even though he's forgotten, it still had an impact. What we do doesn't just disappear. Although the actions you choose, the things you do, remember them because they will come back. In the second stanza, the speaker breathes a song into the air. A song symbolizes something carefree and without form, essentially. It's the opposite of the arrow, but its destination is similarly unknown. This could possibly mean to look for the good in people rather than to condemn them for their flaws. But if we do someone a good turn, will our virtue ever be rewarded? Will we ever really get a reward for what we've done? The arrow has a positive, even heroic connotation of the strength of will and resolve and purpose. Kind of makes me think of Robbie. The arrow represents the realm of physical action, and the song, contrary to that, represents the realm of poetry and art, things without physical form. Falling to earth, falling on deaf ears, it seems horribly ineffective, but in reality, they all do have their effects. They just take a while to figure out. Essentially, to sum it down, break it down for you, the main overall lesson is all actions have power. All actions will have a response. And no matter what you think, if it's gone or if you think it won't matter, it will come back. Mark my words. Thank you very much. At Melville's Tomb by Hart Crane. Often beneath the wave, wide from his ledge, the dice of drowned men's bones he saw bequeathed an embassy. Their numbers, as he watched, beat on the dusty shore and were obscured, and wrecks passed without sound of bells, the catalyst of death's bounty giving back a scattered chapter, livid hieroglyph, the prominent wound in corridors of shell. Then, in the circuit calm of one vast coil, its lashings charmed and malice reconciled. Frosted eyes there were that lifted altars, and silent answers crept across the stars. Compass, quadrant, and sextant contrive no further tides. High in the azure steeps, monody shall not wake the mariner. This fabulous shadow only the sea keeps. So, this next poem is At Melville's Tomb by Hart Crane, and this one was a little different in that most people don't really know what he's talking about. He's kind of cryptic on that, so some APness. So let's get down to it. It's kind of sad and funny that the poem's subject is the way that important meanings such as the art of Herman Melville, or remnant shadows, or depths of intuition. Essentially, most of the explanations and analyzation stuff I found about his poem relate back to Moby Dick, which I guess he had a direct relation with. And essentially, he wrote a letter clearing up some of the questions and the skeptics. And essentially, he was mad people wanted to know. And he's like, hey, can't something good just like stay hidden? But essentially, this is what he said. Human instruments of perception are effective but doomed by their limitations. So we have instruments, but they're limited, and we're doomed by those limitations. And the lifted eyes of religion is what is referred to, and it says a section of navigation. So he's got a little allusion to religion, and that maybe it's not all that it's cracked up to be. And all are ways toward knowledge that contrive or discover meanings despite their moral limitations. In a word, everything is tragic, essentially. And his poem is best described as, actually, no, this is what he says to the editor. You ask me how a portent can possibly be wound in a shell. So he's got like a metaphor or like an example in the poem. People are like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. How can you say this? And so to that he replies by saying, he quotes another poet, and he says, how possibly can Eliot say that every street lamp that I pass beats like a fantastic drum? So he's saying, like, how can you say I'm wrong in what I say, but yet you commend another poet? He's arguing that like he can say whatever he wants, and does he really need to have an explanation? Essentially, it's life, and that everything is tragic, which death, and that no matter what we try, religion doesn't really fix it. Neither does the best. Everything in our perception, our greatest imagination, will not. The greatest thing we can come up with will not come up with a solution to all of life's problems. And he just gets kind of annoyed. It's like everyone who's ever like written anything deep or total joke and then had to explain it, he's just kind of tired of it.